Hi everyone, Grandmaster Ben Finegold here. Well, I had two really interesting games today, and well, for me, I played well. So I won't tell you the results of either game, although you might already know. Um, so I played Tatev Abrahamyan in the first round today, which was round six, and unfortunately for her, she went into my preparation again. I beat her in the last norm tournament they had here. She actually went into some preparation that Nikhil and I did at the World Youth. Actually, I was thinking about not playing it since it's like his preparation, but I expanded on it, so a lot of it was mine. And I was like, I don't know, I guess it doesn't matter. I had to think about it though. But anyway, I played this line Nikhil showed me, and I had done some analysis myself, which I actually sent him afterwards. So, okay. Okay, so I don't like this game. This is the third time I've played Tatev, and first time I've had white. Okay, so Tatev used to play the Benko and the King's Indian, and she's given up both for playing either the Nimzo or the Queen's Indian, although she will occasionally play the Benoni against Knight F3. Okay, so I prepared for my Queen C2 Nimzo. And unfortunately for Tatev, she always plays the same way. She's really well prepared, but if I can find a line that she doesn't know somewhere between moves like 10 and 20 in her prep, and then analyze it forever, then I can usually get her in the opening. And that's actually how I won the last game. And while my opening prep worked this game, let's see if it actually was able to give me a good position. Okay, a lot of moves are theory here. She castled. And I've explained in previous videos that the most common move is A3, and then people started playing E4. But I've always played Knight F3 and Bishop G5. In fact, I played Bishop G5 last week in the Pro Chess League, and I obtained a winning position against Michael Brown, and then I made it into a drawn position, and then I lost. Okay, so I played E4, which I've played twice before in my life. The main move is D5, which Tatev played. C5 was played against me once, and D6 was played against me once. I was winning against D6, and I was losing against C5, and both of those games were drawn. Those were years and years ago. Okay, Tatev has played D5 more than once. And in this position, Bishop D3 is the most common move. And there was a game Tatev had with Anna Zatonsky in the 2014 U.S. Women's that went A3, which is also common, but not as common as Bishop D3, and C5. And here, Anna played Bishop to D3, which is the most common move. Tatev was totally winning, like plus 800 million. And the game ended in a perpetual when she was winning, I guess because they both had seconds left. Anyway, I played Bishop B2, which is very rare. And I was fortunate that Tatev didn't know this move, because I think it's been played maybe 1/10 as much as Bishop to D3. Point of Bishop B2 is actually really weird. So White wants to play F3 and win Black's knight, but that don't work because of Queen H4 check. So the point of Bishop B2, funnily enough, is to castle queenside, threatening F3, and the knight's trapped. Now Bishop B2 looks like a blunder because of what Tatev did, but actually what Tatev did isn't good, which surprised me when I was doing my prep. Trading on D4 is correct. Now surprisingly, the best computer move, which actually has been played, is Bishop to D7. The idea is you still can't play F3 because of Queen H4 check. And the bishop's good on D7 because we can play Queen A5 check and Bishop to A4, and we can also play Queen A5 check and Rook C8. So the best move here is actually Knight E2, and the line's very complicated. And actually, Black's better. But, I mean, if you don't know the Bishop B2 move here, it's hard to find all that. And I prepared for about an hour before the game. Okay, she played Queen A5 check, which is a mistake, and I played King E2, which looks ridiculous. Now, Black has to be careful about her knight on E4. I'm going to play F3 and win it. So after F3 attacking the knight can go to G5, and then I play H4. Well, Black has to do something about that. The move I remember analyzing was F6, and then after F6, in my pre-game preparation, I remember this line, and it said that White had a big advantage. And Tatev agreed. My pieces are going to get out. My bishop goes to d3. My knight can go to e2. I have the two bishops. And black's pieces are not so good. I'll gain a tempo on the h7 pawn when I play bishop d3. So it's sort of going to be an open position, and my king's pretty safe. It's about as safe as hers. I think the computer says white's up like 0.6, something like that. Okay, she played f5, which I didn't know, but it's a move. It's been played. F3, knight g5. The idea behind f6 and f5 is the same. Our knight wants to go to f7 after it gets attacked. Okay, and this is sort of the end of like what I knew, and I knew that white was better, but didn't know how to play. Then she played knight c6, and as usual, I thought forever on every move because that's what I do. The computer doesn't really like my next move so much. I played knight h3, and I'm actually very confused. The line the computer wants to play with black I think looks terrible. It wants to take, which develops my bishop, and play bishop to d7. I mean, I have two bishops. The e6 pawn is weak, and the knight on f7 can't move anywhere. So I'll take white here all day. Okay, computer says that's what black should do. She played bishop to d7, and I played well the rest of the game, which is surprising. I took on d5, which is correct, and I thought a long time. And here Tatev thought a long time and took with the pawn. I thought taking with the queen would be crazy, but computer says that's almost as good as taking with the pawn. So I don't know. I mean, because taking with the queen, I'm going to play bishop c4 later and gain a tempo on her queen. So, or knight f4. So, I mean, I probably should defend my d pawn first with something like rook d1, and then queen's terrible on d5. I can attack it with everything. Okay, and problem that white has is the king on f2 is always walking into this queen b6 move, and queen b6 threatens my d pawn and it threatens my e pawn because my pawn's pinned. So that's why I was thinking forever how to avoid all these tricks. After bishop c3, I knew if she played queen b6, which she did after a long thought, that I could either play queen b2 or rook b1, and I would decide at the time, and she played queen b6. Well, she's threatening my d pawn and my e pawn, so I got to do something. Queen b2 is the safe move. The computer says that's fine. I played rook b1, and here Tatev thought forever. I'm going to guess 30 minutes in a game 90. And, you know, it's disheartening to move the queen again because the point of queen b6 was to take on d4. So if you move the queen again, you're just acquiescing to being worse, and you're just worse. Black's pieces are all terrible. White has a passed pawn. White has the two bishops. White's knight's going to go to the f4 square. White has the b file. Okay, so she took on d4. I took her queen, she took my queen, and I took on b7. This is pretty funny. During the game, she was mainly analyzing, I guess, rook c8, which she played, and the computer says the other rook to c8 is better, but that white has a nice advantage in both cases. And I didn't see either one of those moves. I was looking at bishop c6 and bishop a4 and bishop c8, and I concluded they're all bad. After bishop c6, I was going to play rook b2, and Tatev thought I'd play rook c7, and they're both good for white. The idea behind rook b2 is that if you take, I play bishop b4 with a fork, and if you, after rook c7, Tatev's idea was that white has the two bishops, and white has a passed pawn, and if bishop b7, attacking both of white's bishops, Tatev showed me this line, which seems really good for white. This was her analysis. I didn't really look at rook c7, so rook b2 was my analysis. And that's why we both thought bishop c6 was good for white. Okay, so she played rook fc8, which I didn't see, and I met it well. I took on bishop, she took my bishop, and I played e6. And my pawn's going to be easily defended by my knight, and she has a lot of loose pawns here. But I guess the most important is this guy's a monster. That e6 pawn is very annoying. Okay, so knight e5. Tatev was getting into time trouble now. And the computer doesn't like my move here. It actually wants me to play bishop b5, which, I mean, I like my pawns. Where's Yasser to back me up? Yasser, back me up. So I played a4 because I like my pawns. And I thought I'd play bishop b5 when everything's defended. Knight to d4 is the best move, attacking my pawn on e6. and then rook e8 is good, and then rook d6. Yeah, the computer says that she's like a little losing, but I think it's wrong. I think she's a lot losing. I think computer doesn't understand this position as much as it should. White's a pawn up and better, so it should be an easy win. Okay, check. And it plays like rook c1 here, but I don't know. King h2 should win. Other moves should win. She played rook d2. And she's threatening knight e2 check, and my rook's hanging. So discovered attack on my rook. And I played bishop d3. And Tatev's like, you're developing your bishop. That's not fair. This is funny. My intention was to play rook c1 next move, because that attacks all of her knights. And actually that move is fine, but I didn't see what her response would be. So if you can imagine, black doesn't make a move. I don't know, king f8. If I play rook c1, she plays rook takes d3, which I didn't see. And the idea is if you take, then knight e2 check, which is funny. But I can play rook takes c6, and I think the computer gives this line and says white's winning. But I'm not as winning as I thought, but it's still, I have an extra pass pawn on c6, on e6, so should be winning. The +2, +2.5. But it's funny, I didn't see rook takes d3, so I would have been shocked. I think after king f8, the computer wants me to play rook e1, which I also was very seriously considering, since black just can't move here. Anyway, I wasn't that surprised, actually. Tatev resigned here. I think the computer says I'm up something like 2.6. So I have an extra pawn, and her knights can't move, and I have the f4 square for my knight, and I'm finally moving my pieces out. Who would have thunk it? I guess if I don't want to make a tactical error, which actually doesn't matter, I can play like, my rook out this way. Although I like rook e1 because it puts more defense to my pawn. And like that. Okay, so that was a nice win by me and nice opening prep. So I finally got on the board and won a game. And for that, you should donate, especially since I got no donations yesterday. So I'm mad at all of you. How am I supposed to open my chess center and play more great chess? Amazing, terrible, horrible, etc., etc. Well, I hope you watched the video that I made for the Chess Club and Scholastic Center of St. Louis, produced by Ben Simon. Ben Simon was even on camera. God, and the camera didn't break. So if you want to see more Benjamins, go to the CCSCSL YouTube page. I'm sure you're already subscribed, and I think they put it on this morning. They put the video that I discussed my first 4 draws. All right, like and subscribe. Go to my pages on Twitter, CCSCA, Chess Club and Scholastic Center of Atlanta, Facebook, and go to my website, www.atlchessclub.com, or don't put the www. Either way is fine with me. And remember, the more you donate, the more you learn. Stay tuned for my next video with my round 7 game against John Michael Burke. I thought he was a serial killer, but he just has 3 names, that's all. And that was a very exciting game. John Michael Burke is 14, I believe, possibly 15. I think he said he was 15, and he's slightly higher rated than me. And we also had a very interesting game like this one. All right, bye, everyone.